Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Thursday weather update for December the 1st, the first day of summer on the meteorological calendar, but 3 more weeks to go if you're waiting for the start of summer on the astronomical calendar. That's the summer solstice, or the longest day of the year, on the 22nd of December. But let's kick off with the 1st of December, and I think the best way to sum up the weather in New Zealand over the next several days is that weather forecasters are going to get a few complaints because it's going to be unsettled, windy at times, showery at times, and a little bit cooler down around the southern part of the country because of the airflow coming out of the Southern Ocean. And it's going to do that off and on really for the next week ahead. We've got high pressure out here in the middle of the Tasman Sea in Australia area. I was saying middle because it's in the middle of low pressure to the north, low pressure to the south, and in between is this high pressure zone. So that high is partially stopping that low from coming into New Zealand with rain, but it's also encouraging this windier sou'wester that's blowing right across the country. And we've got more days ahead, as I just said, of that coming up. But before we get too much into the forecast, taking a look at the thunderstorms last night, not many of them, but actually more importantly, these yellow markings indicate where we've had some earthquakes, moderate earthquakes. Take a look at Taupō overnight. Dozens of earthquakes were recorded. This is just some of them. And you can see this information from GeoNet on the Weather Watch website. Scroll down the right-hand side of the page, you'll see meteors and then GeoNet. So have a look at this because all the current earthquakes are in here, and we've got other information as well. There are volcano cameras and tsunami gauge charts and everything else. But if you're just interested in the earthquake side of things, please do check out GeoNet and what is going on around Lake Taupō at the moment. Let's now get into the weather forecast, and here we are for Friday. And what did I just say about it being windier, cooler and showery around New Zealand? Here you are. So there's a cooler southerly. The blue line coming up indicates that the cooler airflow in the Southern Ocean is coming up a little bit further northwards, and so you'll feel that over the South Island. Further north, it's not necessarily cold, it's more refreshing actually after the humid weather we've just had, but there are a few showers in there, and lovely dry weather for Victoria, which really needs it around the Murray River. And further to the north, low pressure dominates from the top end all the way down to really coming into the Tasman Sea area. Now this weekend, Saturday, that low pressure zone breaks apart. Plenty of rain for New Caledonia and Vanuatu and around Cairns, but elsewhere it's actually quite dry. And on Saturday in New Zealand, the winds ease a little bit in some places, especially eastern areas of the North Island and perhaps down here around Otago and Otago Peninsula. Just not quite as windy for a time as that high tries to sort of move into the New Zealand area, but it fails to do so. And on Sunday, it kind of retreats back a little bit closer to Australia. And that encourages, once again, the windy sou'westers to come back in. And with a storm down here, 961 hectopascals, that's a decent storm. Between low pressure and high pressure, that's the squash zone coming right in here. So windy weather on Sunday, blustery, and it'll be windy all the way up to Auckland and Coromandel Peninsula, Mount Maunganui, Tauranga. You'll all have that breezy weather coming through. Let's get into next week. So Monday, high pressure trying to come into the North Island, and it does so to some degree, but the sou'wester is still blowing through the Auckland area and around Coromandel Peninsula. Down in the south, still a bit showery around Southland, maybe an isolated shower around Waitanapa, and nothing too major up there. And low pressure in the Coral Sea, mostly out at sea, but just hugging Queensland's coastline where there could be a bit of patchy rain or showers coming through. Now by Tuesday next week, this is getting a little more interesting. High pressure in the Tasman now finally sinks, but it drops to what we call a tall high rather than a wide one. Now the wide highs are good because they take days to cross through. Narrow ones like this can pass across New Zealand in 24 hours, and I think that's what this one will do. So on Tuesday next week, cooler southerlies coming through before it arrives. We do have a low pressure zone coming in around Tasmania and Victoria. Most of the wet weather further down around Tassie than it is up around Victoria. And then we get to the middle of next week, and in comes that high. So we do have a settled day next week, so don't write any complaints. There's a settled day coming. It'll be mostly settled. There could still be a shower coming in around the north there, just a very light southeasterly breeze out down at sea level. You've got low pressure though all up here in the north, low pressure out here in the Tasman and Southern Ocean area as well. All of this zone is pretty much low pressure, but there is the next high. And for those worried about rain in Victoria, these are all windy northerlies coming through. Apologies, they're not. Sorry, they're windy southerlies going anti-clockwise. So you'll have showers coming through, but it won't be much, is what my point is. With high pressure, the main feature coming in here, you're not seeing a huge amount of rain. So yes, it's windy, southerlies coming through, a few showers, but nothing too major, and the other low pressure zone out here in Western Australia near Perth. But New Zealand does have brief high pressure in the middle of next week, but it's not going to last. It's going to move away by Thursday, Friday, and back comes the rain clouds and the wind and showers. So we've got a messy forecast on the way, but it's not all doom and gloom. Not every day is wet, and in fact, for New Zealand over the next week ahead, some places are leaning drier than average. Now, speaking of that, our Climate Watch update was released yesterday. You can find it on YouTube. Just go to Weather Watch TV, or you can find it on our websites, weatherwatch.co.nz, ruralweather.co.nz, and our free app as well. One other feature, we've got a blooper in there yesterday, which I didn't know about, but that's gone up. And we've also got all of our other videos. So please do check out Weather Watch TV on YouTube. That's all from me. Back again on Friday with our next update as we go into the weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.